What's going on, guys? How are you? Let's adjust this. I got some new light in here. Let's try to adjust it. I watched the old videos back and they were crazy dark. So let's try to adjust this light here. There you go. A little better. A little better. Now you can see me. Let's face this that way. How's that? That's much better. What's going on, Zach? Much better. Ooh, 6 o'clock, tackle tip live. Go get your friends, share this. Let's get something going tonight. It's been, this will be the third time. Nothing much, cool. This will be the third week of tackle tip live. I'm hoping to do it most of the season. I got to figure out something to do once the Tuesday night tournaments start, but I'll figure it out. Working on the boat a little bit tonight. I got some gas shocks. What's going on, Damien? I got some gas shocks. I got a JB weld. Don't hate me for JB welding this stuff. I got to do it. It's the only thing I can come up with is JB weld. What's going on, Damien? Zach Damien shot archery at the outdoor show. He did the 3D shooting for the first time. Did pretty good. Right now, good fishing is going to Florida, Texas, or Georgia. No, if you can get on a boat, some drop shot, they're gonna be deep. Use electronics and find stuff. What's up, buddy? JB Wild is the ticket. That's what I'm saying. Cause here, I'll show you what I'm doing. So I got these gas shocks. Okay. I got these gas shocks, and I need to get it on here. So the only way to get it to work is if I JB welded it right here, right there. So I need to get that to stay put, so that way I can put the gas shock on it. Chuck Bellerby, how are you, my friend? Chuck is an Enigma Costa Pro, I guess you can call him. I met him at the outdoor show this past weekend. Awesome guy. He probably can help you out even more if he sticks around and answers some more questions, especially about your Florida fishing, things like that. So just hanging out. Go invite your friends on here, everybody. Let's get something going. Maybe I'll give some stuff away tonight. Talk some fishing. I don't have a koozie. I lost my koozie. So last week, a little recap of what we talked about last week. Christian Luckaball had some questions on fluorocarbon, the difference between high C's and P-line. We went over the difference of 100% fluorocarbon, copolymer, a liter versus actual fluorocarbon, which is the density of the line. We went over the D-bomb, some net bait stuff that's similar to the D-bomb. 8th, 16th ounce pitching in grass, early spring. What else did we go over? We went over a whole bunch of stuff last week. 2 weeks ago, we went over some electronics and things. So, MLF, good day of MLF today on Conroe in Texas. Alton Jones, 7-pounder, a couple 5, 6 caught. Good day all in all. Lake Lanier this week for the Elite Series. That should be fun. A lot of good stuff going on right now. Coming into February, March. I'm getting ready. It's almost time. Chuck, when is the next Costa? I know you just finished up as a co-angler down in Okeechobee. What's going on in your schedule? Getting fishing Costas, BFLs? Are you doing any more shows? Enigma? Anything like that? How about Rick? Dude, how about Rick Clun? He came out of nowhere. I was working the show on Saturday, and then watched a little bit through that, and then I was framing a basement on Sunday, and Rob Bidniak texted me like, "Yo, Rick Clun," and I missed the whole thing. I saw some highlights, but dude, he came out of nowhere. Next time they're on St. John's, if Rick Clun's in it, he's going on my fantasy team. What about GDP? Greg DePalma had an awesome opening round. to his Elite Series. Just missed the 12 cut, but made it to Saturday. Cashed a check. Huge points. Sitting number 2 rookie of the year so far, between a stud or behind a stud. So that's awesome for GDP. The sport's healthy right now, for sure. Sport is definitely healthy right now. So pretty cool little deal, or little story, I guess. So last weekend, I ran into going to Chic end of the month. Dude, that's nice. Ran in March. That's nice. End of March, I'll be getting ready for like some local banger buddy tournament that Chuck or Damien and stuff will be in. Amazing openings for the elites. GDP is going to be right up there all year. I think so. That the schedule plays up for GDP. The first fish he caught, he put it on Instagram. Like the first fish he ever caught on Lanier was like a 3.5 pounder, like a 3.5 spot. What's up, Jay? Jay's hanging out with Zach. Good to get female hunters and anglers and everything involved. She'll be out hunting, shooting, and fishing her brother in no time. But yeah, GDP is going to be just outright hammer all year. For sure. So, do you guys have any tackle questions, boat questions, tip questions? We're up to about 7 people. Doesn't really say who all is here, but I got about 6, 7 viewers at the moment. Jamie, hey, sorry. What's going on, Jamie? See, don't pick your tail behind your brother. You gotta say hi. I don't see everybody on these things. Sean Lavery, how are you? Sean, I got my new jerkbait rod from Enigma since I sold my jerkbait rod to you. And pre-fishing will be about mid-March for the tournament on Pincho. So I will get you on Pincho, and we will throw some jerkbaits. It's a little cold right now, but probably about mid-March, couple weeks. I'll reach out to you, Sean, and we'll get out on Pincho. Anyways, well, people keep piling in. Keep sharing the post. Get your friends in here. I would love to do a giveaway tonight. But I'm working the show last weekend. Well, 2 weeks ago, the first Sunday that I worked the show. And Bobby from Mega Strike has this kid come up on the hog trough and catch fish. Awesome. Let's get the youth involved. So then he comes down to the Enigma booth with his dad. Yeah, it was jumping all weekend. We sold out completely, like 450 rods, Sean. We sold a ton of stuff at the Enigma booth. So he comes down to the Enigma booth with his dad, and come to find out, he lives right here in York. Super excited about it. So get to talking to his dad, and this kid's, I don't know, 9, 10 years old, whatever. And he's super hyped up about just fishing in general. And I was like, well, let's go fishing, whatever, reach out. So he reached out, his dad reached out, and they came back last Saturday with his mom. They were walking the show again because this kid, like, loves fishing. So I'm going to get this little kid out, and we're going to do some serious fishing. I'm going to try to get him involved with Hoghead's youth program and everything, and I'm really hoping that if my good deed for 2 days at the show was helping this little kid get into fishing, then I did my deed. That's it. 2019 is complete. I helped a kid. I will help this kid and go from there. So pretty excited about that. But I'm kind of annoyed that I signed with Enigma so late in the year because I can't. Oh, Steve's here. Give me a second. Maybe that's why he got the recall.
It is.
Because the letters?
Oh. That's the whole reason why they went in.
Alright, well, I just realized why my seats were recalled and why I got them is because these little letters fall off, but that's alright. I don't care. Clutter's here to do tackle and do whatever Clutter's doing. start asking some questions, guys. That's JB Welding. And then I'll move the other one over later. And it's about as low as it can go without hitting the compartment. Yeah, Damien, for sure. I might do more with Hoghead this year just because of the youth factor and like if I have time to do so, especially with this kid I met. So I'll definitely let you know what I'm gonna do with that. But I'm excited. The kid was pumped, so he'll probably come and outfish me. It'll be a good time. Steve's got like everything he owns right now, going through stuff. Would you like me to open one of those? I was hoping his dad would pop on. He sent me a message this morning, but his dad didn't pop on yet. What, the cup holder? Yeah, it's like weird, like. Who's all still on here? Is Chuck still on here? Yeah, buddy. All right, Chuck. So since no one's really talking, then I'll get to know your fishing a little bit more. So Chickamauga, I believe that's a Tennessee River impoundment. End of March, I would imagine it's still pre-spawn. I would think. If you don't mind, talk a little bit into that. Or I can even probably bring you on the chat. Last week it echoed pretty good though, so I don't know if I want to do that. But I could probably bring you onto the chat and we can talk Chickamauga fishing if you're interested in that. Oh, let me see those frugal jigs, or whatever the heck they're called. So what are they? Swim jig, flip jig, and what?
Swim jigs and one flip.
So 2 swim jigs and a flip jig. And it's called Fugal? Fugal. So Steve just picked up these Fugal jigs. Correct, on pre-spawn. Which are pretty neat. They come with this little trailer, this little paddle tail trailer. These little Fugal jigs. How much are these little guys? Like $5 a piece?
If that, loaded.
Yeah, loaded with stuff. This is a little flipping jig, which has this little flat head. It'll skip pretty good.
This is their micro finesse.
And then their little micro finesse is like a little poof. It's kind of interesting, kind of different.
No, this is the poofy head.
Oh, that's the poof.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how it poofs. I'm not really sure. But okay. Steve throws these Fugal jigs that are pretty interesting. So, Chuck, since not a lot going on, can I add you to this conversation, and then you can kind of talk really about whatever. I do more northeast fishing, and you kind of seem to be all over with a little more experience than I have on like some like Okeechobee and Chic and stuff like that as a boater. So just type yes if you think I can bring you on here, and then if you want to do some talking. Cool. Let's play this. Hopefully it doesn't echo this week. Echoing, then I just want to talk. Special guest. Let's see if it adds or not. It's trying to, guys. It's trying to add. There he is. There he is. Cool. So I do this every week, Chuck. Nice to meet you last weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a good time.
And you guys sold out Sunday.
Yeah, it was cool. We sold out about 1 o'clock, so 5 o'clock the show ended 4 hours early. It was nice.
Awesome. So you fish more bigger stuff as a boater.
Yeah, correct.
Then I do.
I started out about 2008 fishing some, they were the Strand Series then, but the coach is now as a co-angler. Then I got invited to go fish the FLW Tour. I did that for 5 years as a co-angler. So I've been to Chickamauga twice before. I've been to Okeechobee about 4 times. So I've been all over the country with this. A lot of fun.
What's it like fishing behind the FLW pros?
Most of the time it's tough. Some of the guys are really, really good at keeping their co-anglers from catching fish. So they set up where it's a long cast from the front of the boat, so you have no shot at the school they're fishing.
So even on schools, not just like bed fishing.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, a lot of guys are real good at dock fishing, and if you go down a lake fishing the docks, they kind of keep the boat positioned so it's real hard to get a shot in it underneath of a dock that they have already thrown 10 casts at.
Definitely,
So,
I've run into that on Smith Mountain Lake, and that's in BFLs, and they're backboating you.
Yeah. You just have to pick up something different. Throw a swim bait, throw a big worm. Just try to fish some open water, see if you can come up with a fish or two.
So what's the biggest name that you fished behind?
The biggest name?
Yeah, like Thrift, Rose,
Martin. I fished with Mark Rose. I fished with Jimmy Houston. I fished with Andy Morgan. I fished with him twice. So he's, they call him the GOAT. So I imagine he would be probably the biggest one that I fished with. But I fished with a bunch of guys on the FLW. For 5 years, 2 or 3 guys a week that you're fishing with. So it adds up pretty quick, the guys you fish with.
Cool. So Chickamauga, Tennessee River.
Yeah, correct.
I believe.
Yeah.
So what kind of techniques do you do pre-spawn on a lake like that?
Well, I'm not sure if they're going to be in shallow yet. If they're already starting to move shallow, then it's going to be spinner baits. You're going to have some guys throwing some topwater early, stuff like that. But it'll be swim baits, some big worms. Hopefully we don't get into drop shotting out there. I don't think they'll be on the ledges, but if they are, then it's a big worm, big swim baits, heavy 3/4 ounce spinner baits, trying to get them down deep and get a fish or two out there.
Will they winter on the ledges like they spend the summer on the ledges?
Correct. They'll be in there. Yeah, their summer and winter homes might be a little different, but they'll be on those ledges feeding. Anytime that current moves, positions that bait fish out on the ledges, they're going to be there. And that's with all the rain they've had. That water's moving pretty good right now.
And then the current's like a power plant or the dam, as far as I understand.
Yeah, correct. So what they'll do is they'll open the floodgates and stuff like that, so you have a lot of current.
And then that's your feeding windows. You try to make that your feeding windows.
Correct.
It's like the tide change on the Potomac or the Chesapeake or anything like that.
Yeah, correct. Same thing.
Cool. Any tips for you guys? This video will go to YouTube for whoever watches. So I'm echoing and it's kind of annoying. So the floor is yours for about 5-6 minutes.
Just for the co-anglers out there, try to organize your tackle so that it's handy. Like I use a backpack for all my stuff. So I have a backpack, a couple Plano boxes in there for different things. I try to make one box for all my moving baits. So I'll have, jerk baits and like coming up for Chickamauga, I'll have jerk baits, a few topwaters, just a few baits of each kind. That way I don't have too much tackle with me. And I'll take 5 or 6 rods in the back of the boat. So it's just keep it simple. Don't overpack. And that's about it, really, for the co-angler end.
Yeah, it's good. I use one big Plano box and just start piling stuff in it.
Yeah, correct. Same thing I do. And then I'll take, a couple bags of worms, a couple bags of swim baits, and keep the plastics down to a minimum also.
Basic colors. You have to be simple. So you do like your black blue, green pumpkin, and like a red.
Correct. And then you'll have plum apple for Tennessee River is a real good color. And then just a solid plum and a big worm. Seems like that.
Like your standard purple, your Berkeley 7-inch type stuff.
Yeah, I would like for the Tennessee River, it's a lot of big 10-inch worms.
Okay.
So if you're out there on the ledge, you're dragging a big 10-inch worm on the bottom. They seem to like that in plum. So.
Very good.
Very good.
Well, the echo's getting to me, Chuck.
Chuck.
Okay. You can cut me off. That's fine.
But thank you for
But thank
jumping
you for
in.
jumping in,
And
we'll
we'll bring you back
bring you back later in the year for sure
and
and get caught up with you.
Okay, sounds good. Nice being on.
Cool.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, bye.
I'm not sure. There he is. Cool. So that was Chuck Bellerby. He owns a topwater company too. I didn't really get into it too much. Steve perked up. It's all balsa baits, like wooden baits, and he hand carves everything. Yep. So I'll get that information from him, and you can probably post it here, Chuck, if you're still on. Post like a website or Facebook or whatever, because as soon as I said that, Steve's just perked up. So I'm sure I'll have a pile of them in my boat by spring, just from him using them. So post your link or anything you want, Chuck, with your topwater baits, and I'll try to get them spread out a little bit. So while we were talking to Chuck, Mark Caro jumped on. How are you, Mark? I haven't fished with you yet, but I can't wait to. That is the creator of MGM Coal Tags. So definitely hit him up for some tags. Greatest non-puncture tag I've ever used. I support them wholeheartedly. So let's see who else is on here. Cliff Hartman, how are you, bud? Rippin' Lips Lick or LLC on Facebook. Steve, look that up. You got your phone? All right, he's playing with some other top water stuff at the moment, but I'll have him look that up here real quick. I'll get you guys some information. Rippin' Lips LLC. I'll follow that page on my page. So if you go to my page and then go down to the pages that I follow, then you should be able to find it. So cool. Chuck, we will definitely get an order of those in for sure. At least Steve will. I'll probably pick up a couple. I throw a lot of poppers and spooks and stuff. So that is definitely exciting. That's the cool part about working shows, guys, is that you meet guys like Chuck, and then you just get to talking. You have a common company, and then you just network. So that's awesome. Cliff, have you thrown your baitcaster anymore this week? It's Rippin, Rippin, Lips, Lipz, LLC. Mike, I did enjoy the show. It was a lot of fun. I met a lot of people from all over the state. New York, there's some kids from Louisiana who were up here for work who went to the show. A lot of kids. Got to talk to a lot of kids, which was nice. Get them involved with fishing and kind of tell them, not that I'm like in the highest tier by any means, but I'm farther along this journey than some. And it was good just to give my early insights to the kids coming up through like elementary school and stuff. So it was a lot of fun to work the show and sell rods and talk to people. Steve's still working on getting the Facebook page pulled up here so I can take a look at everything that Chuck has to offer with the, huh? You can't get it? We'll find it, Chuck, I promise. Apple fail. Let's see. Rippin' Lip. I don't know if that's there or not. I don't think that is, because it's all like software stuff. I'm going to look through this here. Rippin' Lips LLC. Search. Chuck! It doesn't work, my friend. Is this right? It's going to be backwards, but let me see. Rippin Lipz LLC. We couldn't find anything. Chuck, are you lying to me? Is it not on Facebook? Chuck, give me the details here, brother. Cliff, that's where it's at, man. You gotta get all your kids out there fishing. Rip and lip. It doesn't. Maybe if I look up here, I'll look up Chuck on Steve's phone. Because worst case, then you two can become friends. And what the Steve? What is going on? Cancel. Just cancel all this. Just go. No, you have service, but I'm like so far into like this search. Chuck Bellerby. All right, so there's Chuck Bellerby. Ripping lips. View page. All right, Chuck, I found it through your page. So I'm going to like it as Steve, and then I'll find it later. So there's some like little hair jig Steve, and then there's like, here, look, there's just like poppers and stuff. Here, you can kind of go through there. So there's like balsa poppers and stuff. Not quite like, well, I mean, I didn't go that deep into it, like 4 pictures into it, but cool. So check that out. Rippin' Lips LLC. Topwater stuff Chuck Bellerby is going to make for you to help support his cause to be a coast co-angler all over the place and smashing with Enigma fishing rods. Who else is still on here? I can't decide if tonight is slow because people are busy or if it's because of MLF. It's a good question because the MLF interviews. Do I have the boat already? It's super close, Cliff. Like super close. I need to go buy 3 latches, 2 for the front and 1 for the back. And then I have to hang my rear transducer, which I have to decide if I want to do it off of my jack plate or if I want to do it off of the transom of the boat. And then I'm putting some hydraulics, like lifters, on my lids. Other than that, it's pretty much ready. It'll definitely be ready by March. Yes, Mike, I still need the latches. I needed like 9 latches and like $40 a piece, so cut me a little bit of slack. I'm not completely made of money, so it'll take me a little bit to buy the rest of the latches. But I'll definitely have it by the time the season starts. Oh, and I have to put oil back in the lower unit again because I took the oil out to make sure my lower unit wasn't full of like metal shavings, and it's not. It's good. So I bought new oil. I just have to buy a tool to put it in, and then my motor will be good to go. All right, here we go. Steve, you're holding all your tackle, or a bunch of your tackle is in front of you. So if you could only throw 1 lure in that pile of tackle for the rest of your life, the answer, if you have a Gander Outdoors, I found the lid locks for cheap. I get them at Gander Outdoors. The ones here, they're like $34 or something for the ones that lock. Sean Lavery found Living Lips. Awesome. I need a latch sponsor. Well, I only need 3 more latches, but if they want to reimburse me, that'd be cool. So number 1 lure, if Steve Clutter could only throw 1 lure again for the rest of his life, it is Mega Bass Pop Max. In, what's this, like white pearl? Sexy white pearl? It's something pearl. That's not the pearl? Okay. So the sexy shad, purple back. Let's get some light on this subject here because this thing's just too sexy not to. So purple back, the yellow side. These things have like gills. There's gills that go through it. That is Steve's Clutter, rest of life, winning game show. I can only ever throw 1 lure again in my entire life lure. Pop Max, Mega Bass. $20 a pop. Oh, let me see. Okay, so Daniel, you were asking about. I have this board, which I can't really. Is that a flash? There we go. So there's my pedal, right? But my drain is going to be like way up under here. So I have this board, and then all my water just runs underneath the boat. I still need carpet for that. And then this is the hose for my seat, like my pedestal seat, to go underneath the same thing. To me about today. Where it drains. I just have the hose that comes with the recess tray going underneath my storage, and then it just runs to the back to my drain or pump or whatever. I hope that helps you. All right, what would your second lure be? Or like second and third?
For what? Just to catch fish or for big fish?
The rest of your life fish.
Senko.
All right, Senko's number 2. Specific color?
No.
Mine would be green pumpkin violet from Bass Pro. Catches them everywhere.
I've caught them almost every color.
It's like black and blue. You can throw a lot of black and blue. Yeah, black and blue, June bug. So there's your 3 Senko colors: black and blue, June bug, and then Bass Pro Shops brand, green pumpkin, violet flake. If I'm just gonna go out and I don't care what size they are, and MLF the crap out of them, I'm throwing a drop shot with a robo worm. Especially around here, drop shot catches them in every lake in this area. All right, 6:30. There's a couple more guys on here. Ask some questions. Anybody have questions? Green pumpkin sounds like an all-around color. Green pumpkin's definitely an all-around color. A lot of crawfish just end up being like green pumpkin throughout the year, and then it also imitates like your bluegill colors and stuff like that. Green pumpkin's just an all-around good color.
This color was working pretty good last year.
And Steve says this guy was working pretty good. It's like a smoked shad, kind of. So that's going to be your smoked shad. And that's yum.
Yeah.
It's a yum dinger. They're pretty oily. Justin Hoff or Jeremy Warmouth. If you're still on here, where are you from? Do you have any questions? Cliff, you got any other questions? Casting questions? Redman questions? What's that? Non-existent Williams questions for when they bring the water back and restock it with giants. Yeah, it's a sad day. I loved that lake. Now it's a dirt pit. May have covered this before, but how do you fish drop shot? Cool. So drop shots. First we'll start with drop shot setup. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm trying to set it down. Bait fish from Redman, is that a shad lake? Okay. I'll put the two together. Redman is a shad lake and it's a crawfish lake. And there's like no structure. Daniel, I see your question as well. I'm going to get back to Cliff's here real quick, and then I'll go in order from Cliff to Sean to Daniel. So, Cliff, drop shots. Setup, I either use between 6'9" and 7'2" spinning setup. This year it'll be an Enigma Phenom 7'2", or it'll be an Enigma HPT 7'2", either 7'2" or 6'11". I think the HPT is a 6'11". It's the one that Aaron Martins uses. I'm going to pair that up with an Enigma reel, the Apone reel in white. It's going to be 20-pound braid with 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. My leader, I run about 10, 15 feet. That way, if I start breaking off whatever, then I don't have to retie my leader too much. Yes, Chuck. Sean found it. So there's two ways to fish a drop shot. One is you find a school on your Humminbirds, your Lowrance, your Garmin, whatever. You find it on your electronics, and then you physically drop down on them, and you can almost video game fish and watch them come up and eat it and do that. You can also pick areas like points and just throw it out, and then you just keep pressure on your line, and it will keep your worm, like your weight will be down here, and it'll keep your worm up here. And then you just keep pressuring your line and just give it action. And then the third way is just bed fishing, which you can just bed fish and drag it across the bed, and they'll get annoyed and eat off the bed. There's also what they're doing a little bit today on MLF, which was power shot, where they use like 15-pound fluorocarbon on a bait caster, and then they actually flip. It's a shorter leader with like a creature bait, and then they flip around, and it's like a power drop shot basically. So I hope that answered your question a little bit on drop shotting. I catch all different sizes. Steve used to think that it was a lot of smaller fish, and I didn't totally disagree for a long time until I really got into drop shotting. And then, what do you think that one out of the trees was last year? Like 4.5. That day we caught 20 pounds. It was probably like 3.5, 4 pounds. And that was out of cover. So I've gotten kind of confident in my drop shotting and fishing in some thicker cover. So bait fishing Redman, there's going to be shad. There's going to be crawfish. There's yellow perch. Is there yellow perch in Redmond? Yeah, there's yellow perch in Redmond. So shad, yellow perch, crawfish are your main three. Favorite lakes to fish are going to be, at this point, it's going to be Potomac, Redmond because it's so close to my house, and then the Chesapeake Bay will be 1, 2, 3. Chesapeake Bay will probably jump to 1 as I spend more time on it this year. What's your favorite bass to target during tournaments, larger and smallmouth or spots, or your best confidence bait during a tournament? So in this general area, Daniel, which I'm in South Central Pennsylvania, we don't have a whole lot of smallmouth fishing in the lakes. We have a lot of smallmouth fishing in the Susquehanna River, but we don't fish many tournaments in Susquehanna River. So, and we have no spots up here at all that I'm aware of. So largemouth fishing is going to be my go-to. Smallmouth fishing will be done a lot more as I fish the Northeast this year and do the upper tier of New York, which is Oneida, Champlain, and Thousand Islands. So smallmouth will play a lot more this year in my tournament fishing, and that's from drop shot to jerk baits and spinner baits and different things there. But for right now, it's going to be largemouth. That should have covered all the questions that have come through so far. How you doing, Greg Martz? Anthony Ogwell, or Ogle. Sorry, bud, I just butchered your name. Anthony Ogle owns Menace Baits. I met him. I saw him at SFT. He was floating around. Some of you guys may have talked to him and run into him or seen him and his crew. I ran into him at the outdoor show. He gave me a sample of a Menace bait. I think it's here. There it is. It's here in my pocket right here. Let's look at that. He just popped on. Let's take a look at the Menace Baits Jigs. So they're pivoted jigs, and I'll show you what I mean by that. I gotta get this thing open. The packaged well. I've kind of looked at it, but I haven't had a chance to open it yet. So this is a green pumpkin. I would imagine probably a 1/4 ounce, just with how small this head is. So it's a football head. And then what's different about these jigs is instead of being a solid piece, they pivot. So it's on a pivot right here. And then these are VMC hooks. So they're very, very, very quality hooks that they're using on their jigs. And then it just has this skirt, which for the guys like me who tie their own skirts, it is just like any other jig. You can see the rubber bands. So if the skirt falls off or does whatever, you can definitely retie your own skirt or change the colors and modify the skirt. So I'm looking forward to using more of these this year and seeing what they're all about and getting to know Anthony and his team better throughout 2019. So yeah, I'm excited to use it. He gave this to me in a little sample pack, so definitely excited to try that out and get to know the company better. Yes, that's what got it done on Redman, 20-pound day. So for some reason, Redman likes crazy bright colors. Let me see that one. You want to grab the one the spook I threw? So my spooks, the left side of that thing, there's a topwater box. The left side of this, under my helmet, my topwater box should be labeled. So Lake Redman, for whatever reason, if you're going to throw topwaters in the summer, it's the yellow one. Yep. Steve and I sacked up 20-some pounds with our best 5 or 6. And, like, this is what we threw. And he had multiple doubles. And I had one jump completely in the air and miss my lure completely and just, like, pose. Like, it was insane. And there's people on the bank watching, trying to fish, but they couldn't because we were catching everything. So go get yourself some insanely bright topwaters for Redman because they just straight up catch fish.
We were trying other colors.
Yeah, we tried different colors. We tried like bone and black and all sorts of stuff. And just the brighter they were, the more they worked that day, that specific particular day. And he caught them on poppers and I caught them on spooks. So I think it was more of the color than anything. And Pop Maxes are silent, right? They have beads in them. Never mind. Then everything we were throwing was loud and bright. And getting destroyed, yeah. So Chuck, if you want to make some big old poppers and bright yellows and oranges and send them our way, we will definitely all day top water or just morning and evening, all day. Depending on the day. I mean, if they're eating top water where we were getting, I would imagine that we probably could have stayed there almost all day and just, yeah.
We both have shit to do.
Yeah, we got to the area.
After like pretty much besides one fish, we had 2 fish before that.
Yeah, we fished the lake cliff.
2 fish before that.
We fished the lake cliff. We got over to the area that they were eating. It was earlier than that because we left at like noon. Oh, we left at 1. So yeah, we got over there like 10, 11 o'clock, somewhere around there, and we fished for like 2 to 3 hours, and they never stopped eating. We must have caught 40-some fish, and we probably could have continued going well into the afternoon. Williams was the same way, like high skies in the middle of summer, you throw top water and they'd eat it. It depends where you are though. Like we throw We throw all of our topwaters, or a lot of our topwaters in the summer. It was like mid-July, wasn't it? So mid-July, middle of summer, and Steve was doing this probably end of May all the way through June on this area. So post-spawn through like August probably you can fish, and it's on the other side of the 83 bridge on that flat. And it's kind of funny because you catch most of your fish. There's like all those pavilions there where you can bank fish, but like almost everything sits like just out of range unless you really have like a good setup. Like Steve can reach them from the shore, but most people can't reach them from the bank. So they really don't get touched unless you're in a boat or you really have the setup to reach them from the bank. Yeah, Chuck, I'll message you after this. And we'll definitely set something up to try to get us some stuff, and we'll test some lures out for sure this summer because they eat the crap out of topwater stuff. How far south is your bass tour taking you? This year, just to Chesapeake Bay. Last year, we went as far south as Kerr with the BFL series. We went down to Kerr, which is border Virginia, North Carolina.
If it's me, there's not a day I don't have topwater time. I don't care how cold it is. So.
Yeah, Steve always throws topwater.
Yeah, it don't matter.
Yeah, and they could be extremes of temperature, and he's always throwing topwater. Sean Lavery, how would you fish that jointed jig? Well, there's a few ways. They make that as a swim jig. So if you're fishing grass or structure, you can just throw it out and just swim it, and it'll have a real good action. You can do that with the crawl trailer. I thought I had one sitting here, but I don't. A crawl trailer or a paddle tail like fluke. Or you just fish as a jig. You just flip it on a structure, rock piles, whatever, and just fish it as a jig. You can hop it, swim it. I mean, the possibilities are really endless in how I'm planning on fishing these jigs. I never went on that side. Always thought it was shallow. Have to check it out. Oh, it is shallow. No doubt. You can see dirt. We've caught fish that hit topwater, and you can see the cloud of dirt that they use to push off to get to our topwater. It gets dirt shallow, but there's creek channels in it, and it drops from like dirt shallow to like 3 feet, and they just cruise through all those, and when something comes, they just ambush it, and it's over. So it took me a long time to learn that side of the lake. I tried a few years ago, spent some time over there. I've caught some in the middle of the flat on like spinner baits and things. And even Steve will attest, he'd be like, why are you going out and fishing in the middle of the flat? There's like nothing there. And I truly thought that was the case. And then he spent a lot of time on the bank, and I spent more time over there just playing around, and we kind of just started putting the pieces together and figuring out what was going on. So depending on time of year, like the winter time, they'll head more towards the dam on Redman. So early spring spawn, the bluegill spawn more down towards the dam. So at this point, like if I went on Redman right now, I'd head towards the dam, and I'd fish the points, the dam itself, and deeper areas on that side of the lake. And then as the water warms, I move towards the flat, and then all summer you can catch them other places, but we've kind of learned that they kind of hang out on that flat a good bit. Like wads of them will be on that flat, and they're bigger fish over on that side. And then as it gets colder again, August, September, October, then they almost start moving back towards the dam again. So you kind of got to follow their migration patterns and fish kind of where they are throughout the year. So cool, guys. We got about 10, 11 more minutes. My phone's yelling at me. Steve, can you hand me that charger? Steve's just running around doing stuff. So any more questions, guys, here? About 10, 11 more minutes. And then I gotta get back to JB welding stuff and doing tackle and whatever else. But I've been have gone here in the last couple of weeks. When it's warmer, but there's a lot of residential fish, and we're not sure, Cliff, that a lot of the fish we caught last year weren't from Redmond or Williams. Because a lot of the fish, like Steve and Clayton, and I know some other guys would catch fish, go to that side of the lake and release them from Williams to save them from the draining. And most of the fish that they saved were like 2, 3, 4 pound and up class fish. And that's a lot of what's on that side of the lake. So I don't know that there's not a lot of resident fish on that side of the lake that came from Williams, and then that's where we're hitting. And it could be totally different this year. It's been different years in the past, but knowing what it was last year and when it was that good, I'll know pretty quick whether they're still there or not. But someplace like when we were on Kirkcliff, it was really, really, really hot, and the only way that we could, like Rob and I or my boat, or like the only way that we could really get a bite is drop shotting like 40 feet in the back of coves. So they were very deep on Kerr, but the water temps were like in the 80s or 90s. I forget exactly what it was, but it was hot.
Well, Williams always was a good topwater lake too. So
Yeah, Williams was a solid topwater lake. So we're not really sure what the deal was, if they were actually Williams fish or not. The way they fought and were grouped up, it almost seemed like they didn't know what was going on, and they were like fighting for their lives for food, because I honestly don't think I'll ever forget that day of fishing. It was actually the last day that we ever fished out of my blue boat, and we just absolutely put the hammer down. Just put the freaking hammer down. What's going on, John? Couple more minutes, guys. Last minute questions or anything before I get rolling. Let's see. I'm not really sure. Up for like people. Jeremy Warmouth showed up. And Anthony, Patty Ann. Bidniak is Rob's wife. She stopped in. I'm not sure if she's still here. She travels everywhere with Rob and the girls. They do a lot to support him. Greg Martz, how are you? Are your graphs Ethernet linked? My graphs are not Ethernet linked. I made a mistake when I bought my 7, and I just bought the G2 instead of the G2N. I tried to save myself some money, and now I'm kind of kicking myself because it won't link with my 9. So I have a Helix 9 down imaging on my console or on my front right now, which will link when I get something eventually to come back up to my console. But I'm not that worried about it. My 7 will be used to run a lot, and when I'm running, it's lakes that I don't really fish now, so I just have to put some new and whatever. So hooked up. Yeah, John. Just talking some fishing here. Got a couple more minutes before I bounce. Sean, you're very welcome. I can't wait to get you out fishing. We'll get out on Pincho, and I'll show you how to use that jerkbait rod and a couple of things to help you catch some more stuff. Jerkbaiting, it'll be a little bit different with me because you'll be on the boat where you're in the kayak. So it'll be a little bit different technique. But all in all, hopefully we can get on some fish and have some fun. So if no one else has any other questions here, then I'm going to bounce off and get some work done to the boat, guys.
No one's really saying anything at all. So I'm out of here. See you guys next week, 6 o'clock. Enjoy MLF the rest of the weekend. Go Greg DePalma. Thursday at Lake Lanier is the start of the Elite Series Round 2. Keep conversations going on my page. Have fun, guys. Later.